Today we're taking a look at these MLB matches, which are happening on Wednesday, April 26, 2023, and giving you our team and total picks for today. Welcome back to High Stakes. Before we dive into our video, don't forget to subscribe and to push the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. Also check out our Patreon if you want access to our premium picks. Our Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money, and if you are interested in props and parlay picks, check out our new channel High Stakes Props and Parlays, where you can find our player props and parlay picks predictions. You will find the link to our Patreon and to our new channel in the description and comments section below. Houston Astros vs Tampa Bay Rays. Tampa Bay has been terrific at home this season, but they have some issues that are going to have to be worked out in their rotation. Losing Jeffrey Springs was a major blow for the team as they have to try and find a capable replacement, at least until Tyler Glasnow is back at full strength. Houston is still without Jose Altuve as he recovers from an injury sustained in the World Baseball Classic. The Astros have gotten solid production from Brown in the rotation, and the Astros still have a dangerous middle of the lineup. Faucher hasn't done much in his 2 starts, meaning that this will likely be a bullpen sort of day for the Rays. Give the advantage to the Astros as they find a way to prevail on getaway day. Our team pick is Houston Astros. Tampa Bay continued their assault in the first month of the season as they dropped Houston in the opening game of this series to run their mark to 14-0 at home. The Rays entered Tuesday 23 on the season and they had won 6 straight to open a 4.5-game lead over the Orioles in the AL East. On Monday, Tampa Bay got 4 hits from Wander Franco, 2 runs, RBI, while Randy Arozarena, 2 runs, 2 RBI, Isaac Paredes, run, RBI, Christian Bethancourt, run, 2 RBI, and Yandy Diaz, run, each added a pair in the game. Taj Bradley, 3-0, earned the win as he threw 5 innings, allowing 3 runs on 4 hits with no walks and 6 strikeouts before handing the ball over to the bullpen. Our total pick is over. Seattle Mariners vs Philadelphia Phillies. Taijuan Walker, 2.13.80 ERA 1.31 WHIP, gets the nod for Game 2, and he has pitched well in his last 3 starts after giving up 4 runs in 4 1/3 innings in his season debut in a Philly loss. The Phillies have won his last 2 starts after losing his first one, and in his last 3 outings, has totaled 17 innings and only gave up 4 runs. In Walker's last start, he gave up 2 runs on 5 hits in 6 1/3 innings in a 5-2 win over the Chicago White Sox. He did not face the Mariners last season, while with the New York Mets, and 2 of his 4 starts this season have come facing AL teams. This has the makings of what should be a solid pitching matchup. Gilbert has faced Philadelphia just 1 time, giving up 4 earned runs in 5.0 innings back in May of last year. Walker has never faced Seattle, so there is just a limited amount of history to make a prediction of how the starters will perform. However, both have looked good this season and are getting solid performances from their bullpens of late, which should keep their teams in the game. The big advantage for Philadelphia is that they have been much better offensively of late and they are starting to drive the ball better. While the Phillies have hit only 26 home runs this season, they have hit 14 over their last 10 games. That will prove to be the one edge they need to earn a narrow victory in this contest. Our team pick is to take the Philadelphia Phillies. The Philadelphia Phillies defeated the Colorado Rockies on Sunday, 9-3, taking the final 3 games of the 4-game set. The Phillies are 6-2 in their last 8 games, helping them to 4th place in the NL East, 4.0 games out of 1st place. Philadelphia is 6-4 at home. Philadelphia trailed by a run entering the bottom of the 4th, but scored 2 in the 4th, added 3 more in the 7th, and 2 more in the 8th. The Phillies hit 4 home runs, including a leadoff shot by Trey Turner. The Phillies' offense is on a roll, averaging 5.27 runs per game at home, and are averaging 5.28 runs over their last 10 contests. They are hitting .271 with a .346 OBP during that span. Our total pick is over. Washington Nationals vs New York Mets. The Mets will be starting right-hander Kodai Senga, who's 3-0 with a 4.29 ERA, and at home, Hiraidy has been phenomenal, as he's 1-0 with a 1.50 ERA in 1 start as he went 6 innings against Miami, allowing 1 run on 3 hits and striking out 6. As a pitching staff, the Mets have a team ERA of 4.16, which ranks 15th while at home, has a team ERA of 3.00 in 6 games. Game 2 of this series will see a great pitching matchup as both Gore and Senga have been solid this season, but the difference will be the bats, as Washington has struggled offensively to get key hits and big runs. Senga, meanwhile, pitched well in his first start at home, which was a good sign for the future of Senga. With Citi Field being a pitcher's park, that will also be harder for Washington to get on base and get runs across the plate. This should be a low-scoring game, but when the bullpens come in, New York will take advantage and get a big home run or hit, as the Mets are averaging 4.66 runs per game at home, which should be enough against this Nationals offense. Take the Mets with the money line. With two really good starters on the mound, I like the under in this matchup, especially with the game at Citi Field. Homers are hard to hit, while Washington's bats struggle to get many runs, and we saw Senga have success at Citi Field already. New York is 12-10-1 in hitting the under, while Washington is 10-9-2 in hitting the under. At home, the Mets games have also gone 4-2 in hitting the under. As well, as mentioned, New York is averaging just 4.66 runs per game at home, while Washington is averaging 4.5 runs per game on the road. Yet, with these two starters, I expect that to be less than usual. Finally, in the Nationals' last 7 games, their games are averaging 7.2 runs per game, while New York's last 7 games are averaging 9.5, but that is against better offensive teams than Washington. Take the under. Miami Marlins vs Atlanta Braves. The Marlins have lost their last 2 games, including 11-0 blowout defeat to the Atlanta Braves, 15-8 first in NL East, on the road Monday evening. The Marlins did not have a hit off of Braves starter Spencer Strider until third baseman Jean Segura slapped a single to left in the 8th inning, and Miami batters struck out 14 times and finished the night with just 2 singles. DH Jorge Soler and shortstop Garrett Hampson struck out 3 times apiece. Miami starter Edward Cabrera lasted only 4.1 innings, while giving up 4 earned runs and 2 home runs. Miami pitchers gave up 5 long balls in the loss. Elder has a career 2.78 ERA against Miami and a 1.69 ERA while playing them at home. During the 2022 season, Miami batted only .213, with 28 runs scored in 9 games at Truist Park. Miami was below .500 on the road last season, 35-46, and they won only 3 of 9 games played at Truist Park. The Marlins were shut out in the first game of the current series on Monday. Miami's pitching staff had a 4.88 ERA on the road against Atlanta in 2022. Prior to getting swept by Houston this weekend, the Braves had won 6 straight games against the spread. Atlanta had one of the major league's better home records last season, winning 55 times in 81 tries. Conversely, the Marlins struggled on the road, going 69-93 away from their home stadium last season. The stats and trends support the Braves' victory against the Marlins on Tuesday. Take Atlanta at home. Atlanta's pitching staff had a 3.00 ERA against the Marlins at home in 2022. Elder pitched effectively versus the Marlins at home in 2022. In 10.2 innings against them, he allowed only 2 earned runs on 6 hits, and he did not give up a home run. In his last outing against Miami at Truist Park, he pitched 6 scoreless innings and allowed only 2 hits, while striking out 6 Marlins batters. The Marlins are ranked 29th in the majors in runs scored per game at 3.13. They have gone under the point total in 9 of their last 11 games played, and their opponent have scored 3 runs or less in every game, but 1 so far this season. Miami scored a total of 3 runs in September during their 3-game series with the Braves at Truist Park, and they scored 4 runs or less in 8 of their 9 games with Atlanta in 2022. They were shut out by Atlanta in the first game of the current series. Miami batted only .213 with 28 runs scored and 18 extra base hits in 296 at-bats on the road against the Braves. Atlanta is averaging over a run less per game at home than on the road this season. Morton has allowed 3 runs or less in each of his last 5 starts against the Marlins. Both teams' pitching staffs rank high in several key categories. Atlanta and Miami are ranked 4th, 3.32, and 18th, 4.35 in the MLB in earned run average, respectively. The Braves' bats went cold in their series with Houston this weekend, hitting only .186 and averaging only 3 runs per game during that stretch. Most signs and stats point to a lower scoring affair between these two teams on Tuesday. Take the under 8 runs. San Diego Padres vs Chicago Cubs. The Cubs were also off on Monday, but they didn't end the weekend on a high note like San Diego did. Chicago lost 3 out of 4 games to the Los Angeles Dodgers, ending the series on Sunday with a 7-3 loss. The Cubs got 2 runs in the first on RBI singles from center fielder Cody Bellinger and right fielder Seiya Suzuki, but starting pitcher Marcus Stroman, 2-2, couldn't hold the early lead. Catcher Yan Gomez tacked on Chicago's 3rd and final run of the game in the bottom of the 5th inning with his 4th home run of the season. Gomez and Bellinger each finished with 2 hits on the day. Stroman allowed 3 home runs in the game, including back-to-back homers in the top of the 6th inning before he was pulled. I'm going to ride the Cubs early in the season, while Drew Smyly is still on top of his game and their offense is producing. San Diego has been extremely unpredictable, and even though they've won 3 of their last 4 games, I do not trust them on the road on Wednesday. Michael Wacha is just 4-8 with a 6.50 ERA in 20 appearances against the Cubs, and the Padres have already been shut out 4 times this season. Chicago's offense has been all around great, and San Diego's has sputtered out of the game, despite all of the big names in their lineup. Strictly looking at statistics, this is a matchup between one of baseball's best hitting teams against one of the worst so far. I also like how Chicago has manufactured runs on the base paths with 24 stolen bases, compared to just 9 for San Diego. I don't think either pitcher will be overpowering, so I'm sticking with the hot bats. I'll take the Cubs money line. I'm siding with the over on Wednesday. The Cubs are one of the highest scoring teams in baseball, and the over has hit in each of their last 3 games entering Tuesday. For San Diego, maybe the return of Tatis Jr. is exactly what they needed. The Padres have scored 5 runs or more in 3 of their last 4 games, and with the superstars they have in their batting order, they're due to break out at any time. Drew Smyly has been lights out at Wrigley Field, but some regression to his remarkable start should be expected. San Diego's position players finally appear healthy with some positive momentum, and Chicago has been hitting all season long. Give me the over. Oakland Athletics vs Los Angeles Angels. I believe Monday's game was an outlier as opposed to a sign of things to come for the rest of the series. Patrick Sandoval is better than Jose Suarez and should be able to limit Oakland's enough for the LA offense to do damage. As mentioned before, the biggest question mark on LA's roster has always been pitching. With Sandoval, I feel confident enough that he can contribute a win for his ball club with a solid performance. After that, Ohtani and Trout can take care of everything on offense to come up with a win. Oakland won't have another night like they had on Monday again this series, and they are sending out a rookie to face Los Angeles. Expect the offense of Los Angeles to feast on this opportunity. Take the Angels with the run line. Considering the last game resulted in a 21-run affair, I suspect that the offenses will be prevalent in this game as well. With a player making their first MLB start in his career, you can expect some growing pains, and his overthinking may result in a lack of control. While the Angels are bringing out a better starting pitcher, there is still a possibility that Oakland can put up at least a few runs to cover the total. Both teams rely on their offense to succeed and give up several runs on the pitching and defensive end. Take the over 9 runs. St. Louis Cardinals vs San Francisco Giants. San Francisco doesn't hit as well at home, likely a product of the park, and their numbers are also worse against left-handed pitching. The Cardinals haven't won a Steven Matz start this season, but they have to eventually right. With a chance to erase all of last night's failures, the St. Louis pitching staff bounces back in this one. The Cardinals' offense also takes advantage of a pitcher that seems to be coming back down to earth after 2 phenomenal starts to begin his 2023 campaign. Avoiding a series loss, the Cardinals win this game on the road. Our team pick is St. Louis Cardinals. After winning the NL Central in 2022, the St. Louis Cardinals find themselves trailing 3 teams after nearly a full month of play. It's not small either, as the deficit between them and 3rd place is 5 games. It's still early, but they have higher expectations than where they are. The bullpen wasn't a culprit before, as they entered Tuesday 1st in FIP and 8th in WAR. However, the blown save won't help those numbers. It was the Cardinals' 5th blown save this season. With Steven Matz starting, they may not get the chance to blow a save in this game. Matz is 0-3 with a 6.55 ERA through 4 starts in 2023. All of his starts have been multi-run losses for the Cardinals. His strikeout numbers are strong, but his walk and home run numbers are alarming. His whip is 1.636 through 22.0 innings. In 2022, Matt started a game in Oracle Park, lasting only 2.0 innings and allowing 8 runs. If it comes down to a slugfest, St. Louis has a decent chance. They're only putting up 4.5 runs per game, but the numbers suggest they should be better. The Cardinals are 4th in batting average, 4th in OBP, 9th in slugging percentage, and tied for 7th in ops after Tuesday's game. Their strikeout rate is also among the lowest in the league. A bunch of their guys are raking, but Nolan Gorman may be the biggest surprise considering the established stars in the lineup. Our total pick is over.